Let's unmask a dangerous paradox. How fear, especially the fear of failure, can fuel performance while destroying everything that matters. Why does fear work? Because it hijacks our biology. A fearful leader, even unconsciously so, becomes laser focused. The target becomes everything. Not a goal, but a line between survival and collapse. In this high adrenaline state, ethical nuance, long-term vision, and team well-being feel irrelevant. And yes, results happen, but this is siege state leadership. Short-term wins on borrowed time. History is full of this pattern. Fear drove Qin Shi Huang to unify China under intense efficiency and brutal laws. But paranoia followed. Walls were built, not just to keep others out, but to keep his fear in. The empire's cohesion soon fractured under the weight of repression. Fear-driven success is often just the momentary silencing of an inner alarm, not true achievement, because the question isn't if the structure breaks, but more of a case of when. Now we go deeper beneath the grind. Often, what looks like ambition is really desperation, specifically a flight from insignificance. The target isn't the goal, it's a disguise for a real enemy, the fear of not being enough. I once coached a VP who hit 5 consecutive quarters of record growth, but she broke down after just one meeting when asked, "What would be enough for you?" She didn't have an answer, just tears. That's the abyss we're talking about. And this case is not rare. Consider President Nixon. His obsession with control, rooted in deep insecurity, led to surveillance, secrecy, and eventual collapse. He didn't just sabotage his presidency, he isolated himself from the very trust he craved. This kind of fear doesn't just distort leadership, it turns teams into collateral. Because look, fear might drive performance, but it starves the soul of the system. First, relationships erode. Fearful leaders create fearful teams. Empathy dies. People become mere tools, and communication becomes cryptic code. If this particular situation sounds familiar, I've linked a free webinar below in the description on how to rebuild trust and communication in teams just like this. Second, morale breaks. Burnout rises, cynicism spreads, and for the leader, a slow alienation from themselves. You see, the Western Roman Empire didn't collapse from enemies alone. Internal paranoia, mistrust, and systematic fear followed it from within. The shell remained, but the spirit had vanished. And you want to know what the tragedy is? That in trying to avoid personal failure, the leader often engineers systemic collapse. Despite what you might think, there is another way. Turning towards fear, not away from it, is leadership at its most courageous. It means confronting the source, not masking it with targets and hustle. The path isn't easy, but it's real. Its roots drive in meaning, not panic. It fosters connection, not control. And it builds success that doesn't have to sacrifice people to get there. You don't need to abandon goals. You do, however, need to rewire the engine driving them. Because your fear might be the thing that's screaming the loudest, but that is not your truth. Your purposes. So if you're ready to trade fear for authentic power, the kind that builds real resilience, start by listening to what your fear is protecting. That's where your real work begins. That's it from me today. See you on the next one. Peace.